You need the logic to know what to aim at. And like the emotion is that gunpowder that explodes so you can power through that wall. When you're at the gun range, the rifle range or pistol range or whatever, it's ready, aim, fire, not ready, fire, aim.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back, our Slumdog Millionaire friends. We have a great guest today, Ray Hightower. He is with ROI Clear, and he does something that I actually have no background in. He specializes in commercial real estate, so I'm really excited to talk with you and learn more about you and how you got into commercial real estate and all the things that you do. So thank you, Ray, so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure.
Yeah, if you could give us a little background, where you started, how you got all involved in it, that'd be great.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Ray Hightower. Background, prior to getting into real estate, I started and ran a technology company for 21 years. Started it from scratch, built it up, and I sold that company. That was when I was living in Chicago. And after I sold, I moved to LA to run the LA office for the company that I sold my company to. Did that for a few years. While I was in LA, I was looking around at real estate because I wanted to do something with where you build up some equity, build up some long-term wealth, as
Right.
opposed to being in tech where you make good money, but it flows right through you. You make the money, then you're paying it all out and all that. But I wanted to build something where I was building some wealth. And I was looking around at real estate in LA. I didn't find deals that I liked. So I started looking in Arizona, eventually moving to Arizona. 4 months after I moved to Arizona, I was in my first deal here. So I don't know if I've gone too far with that. There's a bunch of stuff I could unpack along the way. I want to make sure I answer your questions as best as I can.
Oh, no, you're doing great. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. What part of Arizona?
I am in Phoenix.
Phoenix, beautiful. I love
Yeah,
Arizona.
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
I know, it really is. It's
And
It
the
is,
climate
yeah.
is amazing.
So
My partners and I own assets in Phoenix, Tempe, Sierra Vista, and Tucson.
Very nice.
Yep. And at this point, we're at 324 doors and just over $41 million in assets under management here.
That's amazing.
So it's been pretty good. Arizona's been very good to us.
That sounds like I could manage that.
I got to tell you, there's no way I could have done what I've done on my own. I am blessed to have wonderful mentors, wonderful partners, wonderful teammates across the board, and we cooperate with each other. Everybody works very hard in their area of giftedness, and as a result, we're able to produce some good things together.
I will say, that's like a huge theme that we're seeing throughout the podcast, that, when you have the right team members in the right places using their strengths, you really can excel in this business. So I'm so happy that you said that. And I cherish my team. So I say that all the time.
I was just about to ask you too, because I know you just said that you owned a tech company and then you sold that and you were looking for a way to grow more wealth. And I was just about to ask, did you have a mentor before you decided to get into the commercial real estate? And then, and then that's what led you to Arizona and getting into this. And you just kind of answered it for me, where you said you've had great mentors, which both of us, same thing. That's kind of how we got started, was just getting under the right people and kind of just listening and learning, and then just kind of making our own mistakes and
copy paste.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of mistakes. Oh, my goodness. One of my mentors refers to those as seminars. His mistakes are seminars.
I love it. No, when I first started in property management, I was a mess. I don't know why.
We all were.
Yeah. I'm like, she's going to fire me. I am the worst assistant ever. And then it's like, here we are 8 years later, and it's like
an empire. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't even matter. It's like, that's the whole point, is make your mistakes and learn.
Oh, absolutely. Across the board. And, you asked about mentors. I've had mentors throughout my career, going back to when I first did my technology internship. I was 18 years old at a tech company just outside of Chicago. I had a mentor there. I was 18. He was 28. I thought he was so old, right? It was crazy. And, now many, 40 plus years later, we're still in touch too. Wonderful guy. So yeah, I'm a big believer in mentorship and apprenticeship. And throughout the time that I ran my tech company, I did hire interns. I believe in hiring interns. And The interns have been wonderful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's hard to find interns nowadays, though, don't you think, or no?
Well, it depends on where you look and what type of relationships you have. For example, I'm active in the Boy Scouts of America, where there's a built-in pipeline of, young men who are ages 11 to 18 who are looking at careers. They're already smart and aggressive and they want to learn. So that's a great pipeline. And over the years, I've had a few interns who've come to me through the Boy Scouts of America. And then I've had some other interns who've come to me through people that I met through them. Their places to go. We could brainstorm some places to look for that if you like.
Absolutely. No, yeah. Or just, it's great to know like where people are finding the right people, because you can definitely find a lot of the wrong people all the time. So that's perfect.
Oh, yeah. It's always a challenge, I can tell you a story about my first intern if you're interested in hearing that, but I don't want to derail what's going on.
Yes,
No,
that's what we're here for. People love stories.
We love stories. I think it's the best way people
All right.
to hear them.
My very first intern was someone I met, again, through scouting. I actually met my mentor when I was first an intern, introduced me to him, and it turns out we had scouting in common, introduced me to this intern. And he came to me. My company was only 2 years old, 1 or 2 years old at the time. And I told him, I'm not interested in hiring an intern. We're only 1 or 2 years old, still trying to get the cash flow together, get that working. I absolutely do want to hire interns, but it's too soon. But the young guy, 17 years old, insisted on being interviewed. So I said, okay, come on in for an interview. And like a lot of 17-year-old guys, he had a lot of swagger. He talked a whole lot of trash about what he could do. At the time, the big operating system was something called Windows 95, Microsoft Windows 95. It just come out. And he was talking all kind of trash about what he could do with Windows 95. So I put him in front of a machine and he backed up everything that he said. And you know what I said to him? I said, look, prior to that, he told me, I just want to work for you. You don't even have to pay me. I just want to work for you as an intern. You don't have to pay me anything. I just want to work. And after he showed me what he could do with Win95, which was remarkable, I said, look, man, there's no way I'm going to bring you on board and just pay you nothing. That's not fair. So here's what I'll do. Here's how you'll be compensated. Number one, we'll take you on some client sites. You'll be part of some of our network installations when we go on site. You know what you're doing, so you'll add value there. When we bring you on site, for an engagement where we are getting paid, you'll get paid. I don't know what that'll be, but you'll make sure you get paid when we get paid, because I'm not going to just treat you like a guy gets paid or just gets paid nothing to add value to us. I won't do that to you. 10 years from now, you would be mad at me, and I don't want to do that. I want to treat you with respect. That's number one. Number two, we have a requirement at this company that every member of our company builds their own workstation. We'll give you a catalog with a bunch of parts. You choose your motherboard, you choose your hard drive controller, you choose your RAM, your video card, all the components that you will put inside of your system unit, choose your monitor, keyboard, all that stuff. You build it yourself, and that is your machine to work. Now, here's what will be different for you. Since we're not paying you while you're in the office, at the end of your summer internship, when you're done with your summer internship, that machine that you built will be yours to keep at the end of the summer. His eyes got so big. Oh my goodness, he was more excited about taking that machine than he was about anything else, And he chose high-end components. I paid for all the high-end components. He built that machine. He was an excellent summer intern. Fast forward years later, he ended up joining the United States Air Force, doing technology within the U.S. Air Force. I don't know everything he did. I know at one point he needed a security clearance because I was an interviewee for his security clearance. And we've lost touch. I have to reach out to him. But right now, that guy, he's in his 40s now. That 17-year-old kid is now in his mid-40s. And I got to reach out to him because I know he's doing well wherever he is. So that was an internship. And I've had several interns over the years that have just been wonderful. I tend to gravitate those who have a little bit of swagger, a little bit of, I can do this thing. I don't care if you tell me that I can't do it or nobody has done it before. Watch me. I'm going to do it. I tend to gravitate toward that type of energy because those are the types of companies that I like to run. I like to run companies where we're doing something that people thought maybe we couldn't do it, but we work really hard, we study really hard, we experiment, we skin our knees and bruise our noses or whatever, get a few scars, but in the process, we figure out how to do something new that maybe someone thought we couldn't do, and we achieve, and everybody's happy, and we celebrate. So that's a long story, and I hope there's some substance in that.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful story. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean, and you probably had, when you reach out to him, I'm sure he'll say this, you probably had such a big influence
His
on
life,
him
yeah.
and his life that you don't even realize that, because you took the chance and he's like, you don't even have to pay me. And it's like, you're like, no, you're worth being paid. And so we are going to pay. You don't even, like, you gave him his value to start.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, because you know what? When I think about that, not only with that internship, you could call that salary negotiation, whatever. Any negotiation I'm in, I'm thinking about what are they going to think about this a year from now, 10 years from now? Anybody that I'm negotiating with, I want them to feel that they got so much value out of it that they want to do it again.
Right.
That's the only way I've been able to build my businesses. I want to make sure that I get out of it what I need to get. But I want to make sure that both sides win, because that way we want to do this again. And ideally, one of the big reasons you want to make sure you do it again, because if you do it again and again and again, if you're doing it right, each of you is getting better with each iteration, with each occurrence of you doing business together. And I just love that. It's something that I really love about capitalism. It's what I really love about business and doing business together. We can just iterate and each do that again and again and get better at it together. And 1 + 1 doesn't just equal 2. 1 + 1 equals 3 or 8 or 256 or some other big number, because you've achieved synergies together.
I love your high energy about this topic, and I really like your perspective. One thing I will say or ask you, because we just had a similar interview recently, was, when you're doing business, it's hard to keep the emotional aspect out of the business. And especially, I mean, you seem like a personality where you have a lot of emotion and things like this. So how do you, you do. You seem very passionate. I love it. So how do you either separate the emotion from the business, or how do you integrate them in a way that doesn't affect you negatively?
That is a really good question. That is such an insightful question. I'll tell you why I'm excited about that question. When I was a kid and I was watching Star Trek and I got introduced to this character, Mr. Spock, who was a Vulcan, I thought Mr. Spock was awesome. And I thought, yeah, I want to be awesome like Mr. Spock, so I'm going to purge all emotion. Which was dumb, but I was a kid. What did I know, right? And I think one of the things you learn, and we learned this in Star Trek, every time Spock did something where he was trying to purge all emotion, Kirk and McCoy came in with their emotion, and somehow it was the blend of Spock's logic and the human emotion that enabled them to defeat the Romulans or the Klingons or escape whatever obstacle they were facing that week. You need both.
Yes, I agree.
You need the logic. And I like to think of the emotion as the fuel that makes you push through. There's a saying, I don't know who said this, nobody ever stormed the Bastille because they got a memo. The memo is the logic, but the passion about a government of the people, by the people, for the people, or what do they say in France? In French, they see liberty, fraternity. Oh, I'm forgetting, but it is the people, by the people, for the people, liberty, equality, fraternity. I think that's what their motto is. But the reason that French Revolution happened was, there were memos and there were writings by philosophers like Descartes and all of this stuff. There was that logic in there. You need that logic, but you need the emotion that gives you that, makes you want to punch through that wall. And that's that intensity that we need to achieve. So I would say that you need the logic to know what to aim at. And like the emotion is that gunpowder that explodes so you can power through that wall. And taking it further, there's, when you're at the gun range, the rifle range or pistol range or whatever, it's ready, aim, fire, not ready, fire, aim. And if you do it with just the emotion, it's ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim. Why can't I hit anything? Change the order. Ready, aim, fire. The logic is putting those in order. So you're aiming at the objective, and then the fire is the intensity that lets you punch through it. So I think you need both. That is my very long answer to your very insightful and straightforward question. I think you need the logic and you need the emotion, and it's important to apply both. You use the logic to figure out what you're aiming at, and the emotion enables you to punch through with power and intensity.
I don't feel bad about your long answers. I think there's a lot more information in your answers than you think. So I think I like the way that this conversation has gone, the way that it's gone, because a lot of real estate and commercial real estate and whatever you do is numbers and business. But then, like you said, at the end of the day, there is so much emotion in business. And I think it's a very important part of business. Because like with the mentoring aspect where it's like you took that kid and you could have taken his work for free and took advantage of him, and you didn't. And you decided to pay him, and that made him a better person and he made a difference in someone else's life. And I feel like that's really what life is about and what you're going to be known for.
Your ripple effect, yeah.
Yes, your ripple effect. And I feel like that's so much bigger, where if you would have just taken advantage of that kid and he would have worked with you for the summer, and then he would never even talk about you again. But I also think that it's like what goes around comes around, the giver's gain thing, where you're a good person, you're putting it out there, and good people are going to come to you and good things are going to come to you because that's what you're putting out into the world. And I feel like a lot of people forget that sometimes, where it's not luck. It's we're trying, we're working, we're trying to build others. We want to. We're doing. Yeah. And
we have our own momentum. We have our own momentum.
I feel like I went on a tangent and I don't know if it all made sense, but I hope you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're talking about momentum, and we all have to do that. That's why capitalism works. So that's an example of why and where capitalism works. And I mean, you two are in business, and you certainly know it, and you two, just from dealing with you and setting up this podcast, I can tell you absolutely know the value of relationships and integrity and delivering and all of that. So it all fits together 100%. I absolutely agree with you there.
Okay, my next question, Ray, is when are you going to be in Sarasota, Florida? We would love you as an in-person guest because you're so exciting and fun.
I'm grateful to you for that. One of my mentors does a lot of work in Sarasota, Florida. I've been to Sarasota a bunch, but one of my mentors, he's based in, I don't want to say the exact town. He lives in a town near Sarasota, Florida. I'm not going to say, you may know Rod Cleef. So he's there. And probably at one of his upcoming gatherings, I'll do that. So I would like to reach out and, I got to remember you. Please make sure you mention that in an email, sending that to me so that I make sure I have it in my head. Because, I would love to be an in-person guest with you. Yeah. And I love Sarasota is such a beautiful town. I've enjoyed my time there. So,
Well, when you come to town, we will take you around. We'll show you around. We'll show you the local spots.
Yes. Do that, please. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
That will be awesome. So following up, and then another question we really like to ask a lot of our guests on the podcast, because our tagline is survive, thrive, and hopefully retire by 45 using real estate as a tool or property management. We would like to ask our guests, what would we see you doing if you were retired? When are you thinking about retiring? And what does that all look like in your universe?
That's such a good question, because the stereotype of retirement is you go out on a beach somewhere and sip a drink with a silly little umbrella in it or whatever. And
what you're going to do in Sarasota.
Yeah.
You know what? It's okay to do that for some period of time, but to do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week would be boring to me. So it's okay to do vacations. I don't see myself doing a traditional retirement like that where I would be doing nothing. I like the idea, and this is why I'm in business, is to make sure you generate revenue or you build systems and you build revenues such that you have things that are working for you while you're not working. And that's something that I have, within ROI Clear. We have certain elements that work for us while we're not working, that make money for us while we're not working. That's part of it. But there are also parts that absolutely positively require our direct attention, that are absolutely require our direct attention and care. And some people would call that work. I call that fun. That is,
Right.
I don't see myself, we were talking earlier, you know, would I retire when I'm in my 90s or when I'm 102 or whatever? And no, I just don't see that. I see myself doing some form of work, adding some type of value, even if I'm as a mentor to younger people in the commercial real estate industry or in the tech industry or in business in general or just whatever, or working with my church, being active with my church, which I love, or being, continuing to be active with the Boy Scouts of America, or there's a lot of things that I want to keep doing. So I will never retire in the sense, if retirement means sitting around just sipping drinks and looking at the ocean, nah, that's not for me. If retirement means boosting my passive income, boosting my investments so that the assets that I have increased the level of assets that are producing passive cash flow. Yeah, I'll be doing that forever. I continuously add to the assets in my portfolio so that I can have more and more passive income. So that's cool. That's cool. But I don't think of it in terms of retirement. And I know there are a lot of financial planners and investment planners who, as their carrot or as their what would you call, as their lead magnet
Incentive,
or whatever,
yeah.
talk about retirement. That's not at all appealing to me. That just sounds boring. The idea of accumulating enough assets so you have passive income so then you can do anything you want, that's appealing. So suppose you're a person that has been very passionate about a particular not-for-profit. For me, it's Boy Scouts of America and my church. Those are like the so-called not-for-profits. We got to come up with another name for that. Not-for-profit sounds so, I like to think of them as community service organizations. Yeah. Community service organizations, or, or service to God, or service to our fellow humans or whatever. But imagine that you're a person who's a high paid salesperson or high paid engineer who's making, 300, 500, 8,000, $1 million a year doing whatever you're doing. But in order to make that, you have to constantly be, working it. Imagine talking to someone like me or someone who's in my field and putting together a plan where you put money aside into assets, into performing assets that turns your lump of money into regular predictable cash flow for you. And then you can take time to do whatever you want. If you want to continue to work in your profession, that's wonderful. You can continue to do that. Or maybe you do it on a basis that is acceptable to you. I know several physicians, two in particular I'm thinking of. One's a pediatric ER doc in California. The other's an ER doc in Tennessee. And they work when they want to in their medical profession because of strategic moves they've made with commercial real estate and the way they've built their portfolios. It's a pleasure to work with people like that because, my goodness, they work when they want to, and they can really do a lot of good for people that way. So am I going to retire? The answer is no.
We love that because we think you should just continue doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
No, I think you're just an all around awesome person, and I think it's a great thing that you're not going to retire because we need more people like you in the world. So I think you mentoring other people is going to be a great thing. And
yeah, maybe when you're here in town, we do have a mentor group of young investors, and they meet one time. I don't know if you do like a speaking engagement or something.
Yeah, sure.
I think that they would love to have you if you're in town.
If they feel like listening to some dude, from Arizona talk about stuff, sure.
I think they wouldn't mind. I think they would love it, actually. They would really appreciate that. So we'll consider that when you come.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good. You two have such a positive vibe. You just radiate a lot of positive energy. So I'm really enjoying this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and meeting you in person in Sarasota. And your mentoring group, absolutely. Let's figure out how to do that, because anytime I can talk to young people, and I've done it on different parts of the world, I'm thinking about a group of of young people, late teens, early 20s I was talking to in Nairobi, Kenya, and we just mixed it up. I gave like 5 minutes about what I do, and then we just did Q&A all throughout. And I love it because in that age range, they are sponges.
Yeah.
They are sponges for knowledge. And they ask incredible questions, and they're not afraid to ask potentially embarrassing questions.
Right.
So we just got to deal with it.
Yeah, and they're
We
so
just gotta
curious. I
deal with
love
it.
that. So
Right.
yeah, I think you would be a
Yes.
perfect guest for that. Absolutely.
Well, you kind of
Thank you.
touched on this a little bit, but the next thing that we usually like to ask our guests is about a charity that they hold near and dear to their heart. And kind of we want to shed light on that charity, but then also you can ask us to fulfill
Some kind of ask.
yeah, some kind of ask.
Try and be reasonable.
Yeah.
We've had some crazy requests.
We've had some crazy ones. It's been so fun though. We really enjoyed it. It's probably our favorite part of doing this podcast. Learning about the different charities, and then kind of we're getting our families involved. So that's been a lot of fun, and just watching our kids learn just about different things that are happening throughout the world. It does not have to be here in Florida. It does not have to be in Arizona. It can be in a different country. We have all kinds. So is there one that
Wow.
that you yourself are a part of, or that you just know of and
passionate about?
Yeah.
You have a lot of passions. I'm sure there's something.
Yes, there's got to be something in there.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Well, the big charity that I'm involved with, like I joined the Boy Scouts when I was, well, as a Cub Scout when I was 9 years old.
That's awesome.
And it was a wonderful place. I was 9, my brother was 8. My parents were involved with it too. My dad, when he was still living, was very involved with it. We were in a scout troop where many of the leaders were, their full-time job was, police officer, right? So they were cops and they were scout leaders. My dad had been an Air Force MP. He was an MP in the Air Force, and we had FBI agents, and then we had accountants and lawyers and different people all over the place. So my number one charity where I've spent time for decades since, started at age 9 and worked all the way through when I made Eagle, went away to college and came back and got very involved in scouting too. So Boy Scouts of America, absolutely. That has shaped me in so many ways. So one of the things I do now is that I'm teaching a merit badge course called Personal Management, which is about the management of time and the management of money.
That's so cool.
And you would be good speakers at that. If there's a time that we could get you on a Zoom call or whatever with that would be excellent. And you could talk about how your management of time and management of money has enabled you to do the things that to achieve the things you're achieving in business. I think that would be wonderful. That would be great. And then as I mentioned, I'm very active in my church. Since I moved to Arizona, I became a member of Faith Christian Center here in Arizona. And I just love it. I love the people that I've met since I've been here. Yeah, it's about building a closer and wonderful relationship with God. It's absolutely about that. Your vertical relationship, your relationship with God, but it's also very important to build good relationships with each other. Because it's, there's a song, how can I say that I love the Lord whom I've never seen before, but I can say that I do not love the one who walks beside me every day. There's a song like that. I dare not sing it for you because singing is not one of my gifts. So I won't put you through that. I won't put you through that. So those are things that I care about deeply.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that.
Yeah.
No, and I will say that is, again, another common theme that we're really starting to see throughout the podcast with many of our ultra successful guests. They have a very faith-based way of life, and it is a lifestyle, and it's something that they're super dedicated to. And I think that obviously that wealth that you have within yourself, with your relationship, with your faith and with God, really can help you flourish in this world, in this plane of existence. So I totally agree with what you're saying. Absolutely.
And the Cub Scouts,
yes.
Desiree and I both are a mom of 2 boys.
Yeah. So it looks like we just want to shove those kids right in there. If this is what the outcome, let's sign them up.
So it's really cool. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something I think me and you would both be interested just to learn more about.
Absolutely.
Get our kids involved, because we're always looking
to get
our kids out there. And
they're still kind of small, but yeah, they're getting there.
Yeah. I have a 2 and a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
your guys are Cub Scouts.
We'll look forward to learning more about that and kind of fulfilling that ask for you for sure.
That is exciting. As Cub Scouts have infinite energy. Oh my goodness. Your guys are having a lot. I know they're having a ball there. That's wonderful that you have them involved there. That's wonderful.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy. So we definitely need another outlet.
Yes.
Well, we cannot thank you enough for this amazing interview. And again, like, I don't think we've asked too many of our guests to come be in person like this, but your energy is just, you can feel it through the screen, and we love that. And we totally like vibe off that. Right. So we would love to see you on our side of the pond.
I really appreciate that. When I'm in Sarasota, it should be within the next few months that I'm there, because I'll reach out, and I would love to do that. And if we can do that with your youth group as well, I'm more than happy to speak to them. I always enjoy doing that. Yeah.
Please set that up for us. Absolutely. Yeah, we would love to fulfill your ask that way. That's a piece of cake for us.
Yes.
Solid. All right.
Well, thank you to our listeners, and thank you so much to Ray Hightower. We cannot wait to see you in person, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap on another episode of Slumdog Millionaires. If you're ready to turn dreams into dollars, smash that follow button and join us every week for more money moves and mindset magic. Don't forget to give back to your local community. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and remember, your empire starts with one smart decision. Huge gratitude shout out to our production team at Icons of Real Estate.